Welcome, I'm Alison. I'm a qualified yoga instructor and I also have fibroids. This short video is going to just be a little bit about how you can adapt yoga to suit your body with fibroids rather than having to suffer uncomfortable poses and things that are just not very comfortable or nice. So I'm going to just show you 4 or 5 things of how you can adapt, and they've been helpful for me. Doesn't mean they'll be helpful for you necessarily, because all the fibroids are different in terms of their location, their size and their type. And we all have different symptoms. Some women have exceedingly heavy bleeding, some not so much. Many other symptoms vary. So this isn't a medical video about fibroids. It's how your body can be comfortable in yoga poses when you have fibroids. Okay, so the main thing you might want to have to hand that will be helpful is either some yoga blocks, or if you don't have those, then very firm cushion or big folded blankets or big folded towels, or a big book. If you haven't got a block, then sometimes something like that. But some of the poses you don't need anything extra. Okay, so we're going to start off with a seated position. So if you normally have something under the bottom, like a yoga block or a folded blanket or a cushion, pop that underneath for sitting. And we're going to modify or change or not do Paschimottanasana, the standard forward fold where your legs will be out straight and you fold over your legs. If you've got fibroids or feeling bloated or a bulky pelvis and this really doesn't feel nice, we're going to have a wider leg position instead. So it doesn't have to be super wide, just a comfortable distance. Like I say, you could be sitting on a block here for your forward fold. We'll start by just taking a moment to feel like you are settled. Maybe roll the shoulders just a couple of times and then pause. We'll breathe in and breathe out. Again, breathe in and breathe out. Okay, so now we'll slide forwards into our forward fold. So my legs are wider apart than Paschimottanasana. And we can take the hands down the legs. You could have the hands on the floor. You ease your way forwards into your forward fold. So it doesn't matter how far you go forwards, we're moving into a forward fold. Whether you can reach your toes or the knees or anywhere in between, doesn't matter. Move your way forwards, pause where you get to for your maximum range of comfort. And we wait here for a few breaths. We're not waiting for anything. We just pause here so we can stay in the posture, check that it's comfy, keep a nice relaxed breath. And then slowly come back up. So from several of the seated postures, instead of having to squash your tummy, if you widen the knees, widen the legs, adapt the posture so that you've got more space moving forwards, it can be a lot nicer. We'll take a seated twist, and this is again one where we can make more space for the abdominal area. We're going to take Marichyasana C. So we'll bend up the right leg. We'll have both legs in front and then bend up the right leg. Now, the traditional Marichyasana C would be to turn belly towards thigh and take the twist round to the right side if we've got the right leg raised. That's the upper body twist. We can still do a twist but go the open way. So instead of turning into the right leg, we'll hold the right leg maybe with your hand or your elbow resting on the knee, and then take the left hand behind and ease your way round into the twist to your open side. So now you've got lots of space for comfortable breathing. We're not squishing anything. Head looks back over the back shoulder. We'll pause here for a few breaths. Good. And then release. Come back to the middle and we'll change legs. So lengthen out your right leg Bend up your left knee. So again, the classic traditional version that if you look it up, it will be belly and against thigh. We're going to go the opposite way. So hold your left knee with your left hand or your left elbow. Take your right hand behind you, fingers down or palms down or knuckles down, whatever's easiest. Lengthen up through the spine, and then we'll twist around to our left. No, to our right. To our right. So your open side, so you're moving away from your knee. You're still in an upper body spinal twist. We're keeping the intention of the pose. We've just made more space for the upper body, belly, abdominal area. Pause here in your twist with a nice relaxed breath. And then release and come out of the position. Okay. The next one I'm going to show you is how to adapt child's pose, balasana, because that used to be my favourite pose and then it became really uncomfortable. We can keep the intention of that as in a calming, soothing posture, head resting down, lengthening the spine. We can do that in what's called puppy. So you may or may not want a folded blanket or a cushion in front of you or a yoga block. It's optional, it depends on your body proportions. So to come into puppy, come over onto hands and knees. And then, as it sounds like it's a small downward dog, we're going to keep our hips above the knees, but we lower the elbows and forearms down and lower your head down to the floor. So if the floor's a bit far away for the head, this is where having a block or two or a book and a blanket over it is helpful. So we want to rest the head either on the floor, on a block or two, or I sometimes like to put one hand on top of the other, and I rest my head on the hands. Elbows are pointing out to the side. So find a way to put the arms down and to get the head down on the floor. You should have a bit more space here for the belly and the abdominal area. So if you are feeling bloated, or if the tummy's just really uncomfy, this puppy pose is a nice way to soothe the body with the head resting down, space for the belly and the spine lengthened. Maybe one or two more breaths here. And then you can ease out a bit, either by sitting back to your heels or come back up to all fours, kneeling. Good. And come up. Take your time, especially if you found that very kind of relaxing. The next one we're going to do is lying on your front, which if you have got large fibroids or really bloated or uncomfortable here, just often isn't very nice. So there are two adaptations I'll show you. One of them is where you will need a folded thick blanket or a very firm cushion or a yoga block. So we're going to pop that under the pelvis, and that raises you up, and then it gives you a bit more space for the belly. So this is under the pelvis. My belly's then got a bit more space and there's less pressure on it. So you might find you want to have that in place when you're doing a variety of postures on your front. So if we come down, just see how that feels to lie on your front with that there. And if it doesn't feel comfortable, then abandon this and you don't need to do these. And you can do back extensions in different ways. You can do it from sitting, do it from standing, or do it lying on your back. We can like a supported bridge instead. If we are comfortable on the front, the second adaptation is not to lift the legs. So especially if you are feeling bloated, when you lift your legs, you're putting more pressure onto your belly. And especially if you have the fibroids that are pressing quite a lot on your bladder, it'll make you need to go to the toilet, and it also just not feel nice. So if you find that when you're lying down and you're going to take some of these prone positions with legs raised, option is don't raise the legs at all. or you do what I call swimming legs. We lift one and then the other. So we'll try that with salabasa, the locust. Have the arms alongside the body, palms down, and then slide your hands to about waist or hip height. Fingers are pointing to your toes. Okay. Now, if you've never done salabasana, the locust, before, you might just want to watch and not do this and just see what it's like. Also, you don't have to lift up too high. The idea behind this position is to lengthen the spine and the back of the body into a back extension. Okay, otherwise known as back bends. So we're going to lift the head, lift the ribs, and if you're not comfy in your belly abdominal area, don't lift the legs. Or you could lift one leg and lower it, and then lift the other leg and lower it, and alternate as if you're swimming, keeping the knee straight. So we can do that for a few breaths, and then we lower down, breathe out, and relax. Okay, slowly come up from the floor, so any way that's comfortable. And the final thing that I'm going to show is modifying leg inversions. So shoulder stand just became an absolute no-no for me. It was just so uncomfortable, and it was only when I was diagnosed with fibroids I went, oh, that's why all that mass of stuff, all those fibroids pressing on your upper body, and it just was just so uncomfortable. So if you have this really uncomfortable sensations when you're in shoulder stand, but you still want a leg inversion, you can do legs up the wall, or if you've got a chair seat or the edge of your bed or something similar, you can do the legs on a support like this. So you raise your legs, put your calves on the seat, and lower yourself down, and we've got our leg inversion, but we're not raising the pelvis up and adding all that pressure downwards into your lungs and upper body, as it were. So if you want to join me, just take a few moments here, and this will be how we finish this little mini video. If you want to have legs up wall, the legs are obviously raised a bit higher. That just gives you a little change in the legs. So we'll rest here for a few breaths. Tune in to how it's feeling, what the breathing is like. How it feels in the pelvis and the abdominal area. Take a couple more breaths here. Okay. And then slowly come back. And you might move your legs, bend your legs in a little, and then rock or hug, or then lower the legs down to the one side, and gently bring yourself back up to sitting. Okay. So thank you for joining me. I hope you'll find those little tips useful. And if you've got any top tips for adapting your yoga with the fibroids, let me know. Thank you. Bye-bye.